I don't remember my Grandpa Wade very well, as he died when I was young of a horrific traffic accident. I do remember my Grandpa Freasier quite well. Relations between him and my dad were less than cordial, as Grandpa had deserted my Grandma Freasier and their 6 kids, leaving them in grinding poverty in South Texas. Consequently, my dad and his siblings all left home in Mathis, Texas, as soon as they could to make a better life for themselves. Grandpa Freasier principally made a living as a labor gang supervisor fixing public roads in the Nueces River area. Okay, let's see about repairing and colorizing this old image of Grandpa Freasier. Firstly, we will drag the icon over to the Restore tool. Then we're going to repair and colorize the image, so we will do both. This will take a minute or so, since I will suspend recording the video while this takes place. After a minute or so, this is the result. It is now time to edit, so we'll move into the edit module. First thing let's do, let's slap a noiseless filter on there, and that won't take very long, and it looks okay. And now we have a pretty miserable background here. We could try to do a few things with it, but first let's develop the foreground a bit. So we'll develop that, do an auto adjust, and that's brought the exposure down a bit and increase the contrast. Again, there's not much we can do with the background there. We can remove it and replace it with something, but let's show you a different technique. Let's try to enhance the foreground a bit as well. Probably about there is not too bad. Okay, and let's go down and do something about the background. We could replace the background, but we're gonna go here. We're gonna use a Gaussian blur to blur the background. So let's go into masking, and let's just see what Mask AI does. Shouldn't take too long. It's a pretty small image. Okay, we want the human. Alright, now what we'll do is we'll go to the masking here, and we'll invert that, and we'll show it. And you see that basically has identified the background pretty well. So we'll go to adjustments now, and what we'll do is we'll blur the background. And I see no reason not to blur it all the way. Okay, that's done that. The other thing I noticed when I was looking at this was I think his hands have been more exposed to the sun than his face. So I'm going to darken his face just a little bit. Now how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to go back to develop. I'm going to go back to develop and go again to masking. And this time I'll do object select. And I'll click on that. Okay, that'll probably do. We'll go back to adjustments, and I'm just going to drop the exposure just a hair so that his face basically matches his hands. Alright, so we'll keep that. Now, I'm going to do one more thing here, and that's I'm going to put a vignette on him. And I'll choose the subject I'd say about here. And then let's go all the ways. We don't want that much. We just want something that kind of draws the line to him. Alright, and he's basically the only one in the picture because the background's been blurred. Okay, so let's save him. And we'll save him, and that was basically just done solely with Neo. So we'll correspondingly name him that. Alright. Okay. Now we're going to LM Arena. We're doing a direct chat. And for a change, I thought we'd use Seedream 4 in high res. So I've uploaded the picture, the original black and white picture, and I've given it, after a bit of fiddling around with the prompt to get it so it would accept it the way I wanted, I tell it repair and colorize, then replace the background with some workman working on a South Texas road, because that's what he did for a living. So I'm going to kick off this calculation. It'll take a minute or two for it to do it. So I'll start the calculation and then I'll stop the recording. So let's double click on that so you can get a good look. This is what we got, which is what I wanted. I had a few false starts with the prompt because it basically didn't seem to interpret what I wanted. Didn't understand road crew somehow. But anyway, that's the prompt I used. So let's store that. And I'll call that Grandpa Freasier SD4. So we'll save that. Okay. Alright, we're back in Luminare Neo with the image that we generated in Seedream 4. Alright, so let's work a bit on that. Alright, well, we'll take any noise out of it. Takes a while, so it didn't take that long. Alright, so we'll keep that. Alright, next thing we'll do is let's go do develop. So auto adjust. Alright, that's good. Actually, I think it's just a little bit bright. Okay. Let's next go to enhance, and we can make it pop a bit more about there. Let's look at the sky enhancer. Yeah, that's not too bad. Might be a little bit bright for South Texas sky unless it's in the middle of the summer. Okay, so we're happy enough with that. Alright, now what do we want to do? We've got the setting now. I think now we want to do a couple of things. We now know how to do a blur. Let's go do a blur, but the notion behind doing the blur is, let's do the masking, and again, let's do a mask, make sure that it can pick out Grandpa Freasier. Alright, so we'll pick out the human. Okay, it's got more or less the right thing. There's a little inaccuracy right here, but we won't worry about that. Okay, so what we'll go back to the masking, and we'll invert and then show. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to blur that a little bit. We're not going to do like we did before, though. We want those people back there and being recognizable, but they're not the center of attention. we want to do something about like that, so that okay, so that's true. So we know there's workmen behind there, but they're not the center of attention. Now we'll do one more thing. We'll put a vignette on that, and let's choose. I'd say that's a good place to put the center on. Let's do all the way, see what it looks like. That's a little bit heavy-handed. We just don't want to lead the eye in towards the center. Okay, so that has done that. So the next thing we need to do, at least to see the tail of the tape, to see how good all these versions of Grandpa Freasier are. Well, first thing we better do there is we better export that. Well, we are now in Luminare XR, where we can look to see how we did, at least by their aesthetics rating. Alright, here's the original. And it had a rating which was above average for a happy snap of 46. I'm pretty sure my dad took this picture and he was a pretty good photographer. This is when we took it and we just gave it a simple prompt in Seedream and put a work crew behind him where he was doing his job as supervisor. This is when we took it into Neo and basically blurred the background a bit and put a vignette on it. And the winner, rather surprisingly, was one where we just took the image, the black and white image, and took it into Neo, colorized it, and basically blurred the background, and that was about it. But for that, from the black and white, it improved it by about 15 points, which wasn't too bad.